Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final week of the championship season of the Batterick League. Obviously, we've got next week Pro Bowl. Just to start with, no major weather warnings to give you guys today. Doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of rain anywhere or any heavy snow, so rest easy on that front. Let's go with the rename shame game first, and then work our way towards the championship. So rename shame game. Great week for Mo last week, and he started again strong this week. He's made about 30 or so points from Gurley and Kittle. And he also, you'd say starting strong with about 20 points, but he's now about 60 points in the hole when you factor in last week's results as well. And he's only got 8 players left to go. And I think it's fair to say that this lead is now insurmountable for Andy. For Mo's lead is now insurmountable. And I don't see how Andy could possibly come back and win this. I think he might be able to win this week. I think he probably does sneak the win here. But I think that's just too great of a deficit for him. So I'm very sorry, Andy, but it looks like your team's going to be renamed for a fourth time. Congrats to Mo. The loser bracket, which is between myself and Stu. I've already lost 2 very close games to Stu by about a total of about 3 points so far this season, and I can see this being another really tight game. I've got that coming off the injury report, which is good news for me, and hopefully, because this is a very must-win game he's got against the Eagles, he's gonna, really jump into action and, start throwing a lot towards Cooper, who I need to see get a couple touchdowns. Stu, for his part, he's got some really great matchups this week. He's got Fitz at Cincy. He's got Hooper against the Jags. Gonzalez is going to Seattle. It's going to be a really tight game, but it's one I think Stu sneaks. We'll go into the winner-loser bracket, which I'm not sure. It hasn't been declared an official Fredo Bowl. I haven't actually heard anything so far from Brad on that nature. I'm assuming so, because he normally does make it a Fredo Bowl, unless it was last week. No. Anyway, let me down. So Phil has rostered 3 QBs this week, and he chose the worst one. Jameis put up about 11 points, when he also had Josh Allen on his bench. He put up about 20, 17 from Brady. Big mistake there coming from Phil. He was redeemed slightly, though, in his selection as Robbie Gould as his kicker. He put up 10, so it's kept him in the hunt. Brad had 3 players go already, who all did okay, but no one I think really, managed to land that heavy blow, which would like pull him away from Phil in any particular way. It's still a very tight game, I think, at this point. And I think, I'm actually going to predict Phil to win, just because I think he's got some slightly stronger matchups. He's got 2 guys going against the Jags defense, for example, which I think is more favourable than what Brad's doing with 2 guys going against the Dolphins, who are Bengals. So I think, I'm going to predict a narrow win for Phil. Third place game, already some rather rueful mistakes in this one. Tress getting almost nothing from James White. Ryan only getting about 8 points from Watson. And Ryan, I think, is really up against it this week. With the exception of his defense, everyone in his team is traveling this week to play. Away games are always a bit tougher. You can expect a couple points, I think. Deficits when playing at home games for your players, and all of them being on the road, I think just makes it more likely that someone's going to lay an egg. And it's just going to, I think it's going to make things a bit harder for him. So I'm going to say I think Triss gets a win here, by virtue of having, a few home players this week. Finally, championship game. Strong start for Ian and a solid start for Tom too, I think. It's going to be a tough one this week for Ian without Cook. You'd really love to have him going. And he's making some bold choices with his roster so far. He's got Wentz he's benching. He is leaving Scary Terry there as well. We should also note, just for history's sake, Ian was widely mocked for taking Kelsey in the first round of the draft this season. I think it was at fifth overall pick. But he should be commended for getting this far, actually. And who knows, maybe if he does manage to get the win here, we should reconsider how we view drafting tight ends in fantasy football. Moving over to Tom's team, Tom now has a difficult decision to make himself. Actually, he's currently starting Boone in his flex position, but reports are that Madison is probably going to play. So the question now is, does he want to bench? Does he want to bench Boone? Who would he start in his place? Does he have enough fantasy value, even if he's splitting carries with Madison? It's a tough one. Tom does have some very good running backs on his bench. Does he want to put one of them in just to be a bit more cautious? Being cautious was being cautious what gets you to the championship and wins you a place on that trophy without an asterisk? These are the tough questions that Tom has to face right now. Let's see what he does. I've got to say, I am loath to do it, but I do think I'm going to have to predict a Tom victory here. So I think, what I'm saying is Tom wins the championship. Tris comes third. I think I've got Phil winning the winners bracket. I think I've got Stu winning the loser bracket, and I've got Andy winning this week but losing to Mo overall in the rename shame game. Guys, that's it for this one. Next week we'll do a live one at about 11 o'clock, I think, on Sunday. We'll say roughly 11. I'll see what time I feel like doing it, but we'll say around 11. And next week is going to be my last of these videos. I've decided that I can't be bothered to keep doing them. I did write up a whole thing about it to go in a newspaper, but for whatever reason Tom hasn't put it out. I think that's kind of rude of him. It's not like he's got anything better to do right now than publish our newspaper. But yeah, the whole thing's going to be in a newspaper about it. If anyone else wants to start doing these, you're more than welcome to. But I'm going to hang it up after the live one next week. Guys, have a good week.